Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video here on Independence Day for the United States, in which I will give you all my thoughts on Ethereum and everything you need to know. Now, first of all, for the Americans watching, happy 4th of July. And for the non-Americans watching, what you should know is that the markets are closed today, all right? The traditional financial markets are closed. So that means that normally the momentum, the volume, the volatility, and the liquidity we get during the New York Open or after the New York Open and during the US session is less, all right? So what that means, and I said this in my Bitcoin video as well, is that, maybe today, most likely the liquidity is still going to be relatively fine. But especially over the course of the weekend, the order book depth is going to decrease a lot. The liquidity in general, which is basically the same thing, but the liquidity in general is going to decrease. So that means that there's more risk of manipulation and volatility. So be aware of that. And ultimately, that also has an impact on Ethereum, because that means that there's less possibilities of momentum. And momentum is what Ethereum needed, right? I mean, Ethereum got some nice momentum right here on Wednesday together with the entire markets. But what that caused is that Ethereum was able to rally into the value area high, the range highs right here at 2650, which is now also in confluence with the yearly rolling VWAP. But it found resistance there, all right? And that's not strange. It's a very strong resistance level, right? So it's quite normal that we actually do find resistance there. But ultimately, what we want to know, or at least what I want to know, is whether Ethereum can break above that and still, fill some of those imbalances to the upside, but also just test that level around 2800 again before pulling back, right? Because what I said yesterday in my video is that I thought it was most likely that we would rally up higher, because yesterday morning we actually still had quite a lot of momentum. I thought the momentum would be a little bit more sticky, but outside of that, we also saw ETH BTC, so the relative strength of Ethereum to Bitcoin. We saw that break out and start some sort of an uptrend, and that it is still in right now as well. And that is also kind of the difficult part to analyze Ethereum right now, is that technically it has a very good chance still to break out, right? What we're seeing right now is that Ethereum, look, what we did on Wednesday, if you take a look at the footprint chart, is we left a lot of imbalances to the downside, right? So basically, you have one right here at 2510, which is confluent with the 30-day rolling VWAP and the 7-day rolling VWAP. Then you have another one at 2475, and then you have some other ones right here at 2450. So we created a lot of imbalances to the downside, and market circumstances like we are seeing right now are absolutely ideal to fill some of those. But as long as we get a good reaction from those, especially right here between 2510 and 2480, we can still definitely break out, right? This is not a breakdown. This is just at this point of time, it looks more like a retest. And if you combine that with what we're seeing right now from ETH BTC, which has also broken out and is also still holding some sort of an uptrend right here, especially that green area, I almost have to say, technically, that I think it's most likely we will fill some imbalances a little bit lower, like I said, between 2510, 2475, but that from there we will bounce, we will remain stable, and we have a very good chance, as long as the fundamentals around the crypto market also stay relatively stable, to still rally up higher. And this is also, at this point of time, what I think is most likely. However, the problem, I guess, is that we are entering a period of time with low liquidity, low momentum, right? So I would very much be aware and be careful for this consolidation right here in the middle, like this consolidation that we're about to get into, which I do think is most likely. I don't think it's most likely that in the next 3 days we'll break out. It's a possibility, but I don't think that's most likely. But this will be very choppy. This will be very volatile. So be aware of that. But as long as you're aware of that, and as long as we get at least somewhat of a good reaction from that level, I think we're fine, and I think we can rally back up Sunday, Monday, and I think we have a good chance to also break out higher later next week. But those are my thoughts. I will definitely keep you updated on this, but that's at least for now what I think you need to know. So hopefully it helps. Have a great Friday, have a great weekend in advance, and bye.